Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I hope well for Sunday, June 1st. Rent due, but not today, tomorrow, I guess, or soon. I hear it's warm in the Ukraine and Russia, but I think it's still cool here. And we always get their weather 2 days later. So by Tuesday, it'll be 80 degrees here or hotter. Anyway, so I did my college football yesterday. I started looking at the quarterbacks. And anyway, let's get into that. So I'm looking at, let's look at baseball yesterday's, and we'll pick today's because it's 11:18. And then we'll get into NBA. I think, yes, I had Indiana, and they blew them out. So another good pick by the professor. These NBA playoffs, it's just all logic. Basically, Indy couldn't afford to lose and tie the series and go to New York for Game 7. They played really well, especially off the loss to New York in Game 5, where New York had to win or they were eliminated. So the home court makes a big difference. The role players play better. The crowd certainly helps. And that's how I do it. And it's pretty successful. I mean, there's a few you don't quite figure out, but who can figure them all out except for Bernie Madoff, of course. So I think OKC will win this series. They apparently, from what I hear, have a pretty good defense, and they have all these skilled players. And whoever this guy is, who's the MVP of the league, who I've never heard of, I couldn't tell you what college he went to. I could walk down the street, walk into him, and wouldn't have a clue. Problem with basketball, it's just not on TV enough, so you don't even know any of the players. I guess the finals will be on ABC, so we'll actually get to see the games and see who OKC is and who this Halliburton is and all that shit. But OKC wins. If you're betting the series, bet OKC to win the series. Nothing new. I think it's an over. I think Indy scores a lot. I think OKC scores a lot. So I think it could be an over series. We'll see. I think it'll go 6. I think OKC wins at home. I think Indy splits at home. OKC wins Game 5, and that'll be it. So I think it's 5 games, maybe 6, but that would mean winning at Indy. So I don't, I look for 5. I don't see it going 7. I mean, Indy beat the Knicks, but the Knicks weren't a very good team. They barely beat the Pistons, who stink. So the Knicks in the hall weren't good. Now, they did beat Boston, but Boston, their best player got hurt. So the Knicks weren't terrible. But Cleveland had injuries. Milwaukee had injuries. Boston had injuries. So you're stuck with the fourth best team, and the fourth best team does not beat the best team. No chance. OKC, clearly best team, struggle a little bit. Denver, game a run. Denver's pretty good, I guess. I think they won a title a couple years ago. So I could see where Denver would have given them what they want. But by beating Denver, they will beat Indiana. So if you're looking to bet the series, bet OKC to win and the W. All right. Let's look at baseball. And we start off with the Cubs over 7, and they win 2-0. Not a good start. Then we get Oakland over 9, and Toronto wins 8-7. We get an over there. We got Philly under 8. Well, I don't even know what this score is. 17-7. Really? It's a football. Green Bay 17, Philly 7. I mean, you can't predict that. Milwaukee doesn't the ball that much, and they had pretty good pitching, so I don't know where this score came. St. Louis, we had to beat Texas. Sonny Gray, we got the win, 2-0. The White Sox under 9. They can't hit. Baltimore won 4-2. They can't hit either. It was a nice under. The 49ers, we had don't score on Miami. Edward Cabrera, 2-1 with a 4.14, beats Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray was 7-0 with a 2 ERA. Cabrera was 1-1 with a 4-something ERA, and he shuts them out. I mean, that was, we basically bet Robbie Ray, who was 7-0 with a 2 ERA. That was the theory there. Had Cabrera been a lower ERA, we would have just went under, but they can hit both teams, so surprise there. The Mets under 8.5, they won 8-2. Kenya Senga with his 1.60 does win over Sanjalena, who is now 1-10 with the 7 ERA. But I think the Mets were a minus 400 in this game. So we couldn't. I mean, we could have bet the Mets. It was a sure win for the Mets, but it was such a minus 400. So we just thought Colorado doesn't hit on the road. The Mets, it's about what I thought, though it got a little higher. Tampa Bay, they win 16-3. They got 2 touchdowns and went for 2 and missed against Houston. These high-scoring games. But we did have Tampa to win. Tampa won. Atlanta 5, Boston nothing. I had Atlanta over 8.5. Where was Boston? Spencer Swallenberg with a 3.13 ERA shut him out, which is, Boston can hit. Atlanta got 5, which is what I thought. I thought Boston would get a few runs. Kansas City beats Detroit 1-0. I have the game under 7.5. School Bowl. All right, now we got to talk about this. School Bowl's got a 2-hitter going. The other guy, Waka, has got a no-hitter going. Into the 7th inning. So the Tigers finally got a hit at the bottom of the 7th, or top of the 7th. And he takes out Waka, which I am definitely afraid of, going, what the fuck? But at least he didn't have the no-hitter going. That's not my question here. School Bowl has thrown 90 pitches, 2 hits, in 7 innings. Why are you taking him out? He's only thrown 90. He hasn't thrown 100. Like, his arm's going to fall off if he throws 100 or 110? Really? So they pull him for Bo Brisky, who's terrible. He's got a 5 ERA. And I said to myself, game's over. You're going to lose. And sure enough, boom, boom, 2 hits, 1-0 KC. They bring in their ace to pitch the 9th. The Tigers go 1-2-3. Boom, boom, boom. KC wins 1-0. You've wasted School Bowl. Why would you bring in Bo Brisky with a 5 ERA? You didn't even go to your ace, because I don't even know if the Tigers manager knows what their ace is. I mean, normally you'd go to Raleigh Fingers and he'd pitch this. So what should have happened is School Bowl should have pitched the 8th inning, because he had 90 pitches. They had gotten a whopping 2 hits off of him. They're not hitting him. Let him pitch the 8th. Bring in Raleigh Fingers to pitch the 9th. Only Detroit doesn't have a Raleigh Fingers. Apparently, they go to Bo Brisky with the 5 ERA. What is the manager thinking in this case? 90 pitches, not 110. Let's pull him and bring in a guy with the 5 ERA. And I knew they were gonna lose as soon as they did it, because the psychology is as soon as they see Scooble out of the game, all of a sudden KC can hit, as they did right away. Boom, hit. I think a stolen base or a bunt, and then another hit, and boom, 1-0. And you're just these managers. Do they understand they're trying to win? I'm not really quite clear on what the manager thinks his role is. It was the same thing last year with Seattle against Detroit, where he pulls the pitcher for the reliever, and the reliever gives up a 2-run homer to the worst hitter in the league, that Happy Bias guy. Unbelievable. And you lose, and Seattle needed the game. Managers, why are they pulling their pitchers? I mean, it's enough you're going every 5 days. This pitch count's absolutely ridiculous because the pitchers are still getting hurt. This Joby guy on Detroit needs Tommy John surgery. He's out for the year. Well, wait, he's only pitching, I doubt he pitches 80 pitches a game in every 5th day. He still gets hurt. This 100-pitch bullshit is bullshit. This every 5th day is bullshit. What the hell are they doing? So I don't really get the strategy involved or what they think. If I'm the pitcher, Scooble's going every 4th day. I'm going back to a 4-man rotation, and I'm going to find my ace in the bullpen, and he's the one who's going to pitch the 9th inning. And not a guy with a 5 ERA like Bo Brisky, who stinks, basically. Why would you put him in a 0-0 game? When the game before, they won like 8-2 or something, pitch him then. Pitch him when you got a big lead. If you need to pitch him, the need to get the starter out of the game, to bring in the bullpen, is absolutely ridiculous. It's terrible managing. It's ruining the game. And the pitcher now lost where he should have easily won. I'm glad the other guy gave up a hit. I'd hate to see him get pulled in a no-hitter. That, I think, is just ridiculous to do that. But why Scooble pitched nine innings the last game? Why are you pulling him after 7 in a 0-0 game? You need him in the 8th to keep it 0-0, and then you need him in the 9th to keep it 0-0 until you get a hit, and maybe he pitches the 10th inning. There's no rule against the pitcher pitching over 100 pitches. Sorry, it doesn't matter. The arm doesn't get tired, it's the legs. And if these guys are in shape and you're pitching them the way you should be, 125 pitches should be nothing. Go look up Nolan Ryan. Go look up Steve Carlton. Go look up Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax. They all pitched 200 pitches without a problem. And they pitched on 4 days rest, except for Mickey Lolich in the 68 series, pitched on 2 days rest and pitched a complete game. So this is all bullshit. This is all analytics. This is the problem. This is why you can't watch the game, and it ruins it. Maybe you turn on to watch Tarek Skubal, but how frustrated are you if you turn it on just to watch him and they pull him after 7 and lose 1-0 because the guy they brought in has a 5 ERA? What's the manager thinking? Does he have any brains in his head? Or is he going to lie about this like he lied about Houston? I didn't know they were hitting the can and giving out signals, and Altuve had a thing on his chest. I didn't know that. Oh, bullshit, you didn't know that. And then you lie about it. So now here you got a liar trying to manage. Does he know how to manage? Do we need to start hitting garbage cans so we can know what the pitch is to win? Absolutely incredibly insane, terrible managing. I don't give a shit. There's no way the guy pitches the 8th inning and his arm's going to fall off. If it is, then you might as well just sit him out and never pitch him, because then he might get hurt. It's insanity. Everybody's so worried about getting hurt. Pitch him. He'll be gone anyway. He's going to go free agency and let him go to the Dodgers and pitch. No, I bet the Yankees get him. The Yankees need this guy. Put him in, you need a lefty there, but put him in with Max Fried, Yankees, Dodgers, and this time the Yankees win the World Series. But I'm not buying, and I'll never buy, because I watched in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and I watched Jack Morris pitch 200 innings at 200 pitches, pitch the 10th inning of a World Series for Minnesota. So don't tell me they can't do it. I mean, he was a great pitcher. Tigers had 3 pitchers, Petrie and Rosamond. That was it. And they had the reliever, Altoona or whatever his name was. That was it. You don't need 15 relievers, and you don't need to baby your pitcher. This is professional baseball. So if the Tigers missed by 1 game making the playoffs, right here, this is the game. It was 0-0. Just keep pitching him. He only had 90 pitches. Why are you pulling him? If the magic number is 100, which probably 125 in a game like this, why do you want to waste his effort and lose the game? Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, this is why I'm not a fan of the manager, and I really have a hard time watching baseball with these idiots running it. I can't watch, I watched the little bit of the Yankee Dodger game, and this Yankee pitcher's terrible. And he gives up a couple of hits, and it's 2-0, and the manager doesn't pull him, and then it's 4-0, and the manager doesn't pull him, and you're like, what do you need to see? You've already lost the game. It's already 4-0, and then the Dodgers won 18-2, and you're just sitting there. Where's the mercy rule? No, if the Yankees can't get them out, that's too bad. Terrible managing. He's giving up. He can't pitch. He's giving up 4 and he can't throw strikes. Get him the fuck out. Because if you don't, you lose the game in the first inning, which they did. They were down 4-0. The game was over. Although I was glad this Shotani guy struck out. I was happy about that. Okay. Spoke my piece. Bo Brisky, 5 ERA. Why would you pitch him in a 0-0 game in the 8th inning? Why wouldn't you just stay with Skubal? You have a better chance with Skubal. And then I like Kansas City's reliever. They go to their ace, Carlos Estevez, who has his 16th save, and he's got a 1.78 ERA. This is my 9th inning guy, period. And the Tigers couldn't hit him. That's the point. Bo Brisky, my girls' fast pitch team could hit him. He's terrible. All right, Cleveland 7, California 5. I have Cleveland under 8. I don't know where they got all the runs from. The Dodgers 18-2. I have the Dodgers over 9.5. That was an easy one. Seattle 5-4. I got Minnesota over 7. They get 9. Pittsburgh 5, San Diego nothing. I have San Diego under 7.5. That wins. And I played San Diego, and it lost. Dylan Cease, I don't know if he gave up 5. Bailey Falter shuts out San Diego. So we split that one. I did like the under, and always go with your first impression. And then we got our last game, Washington 11, Arizona 7. We got Arizona over 9.5. So in my picks, I lose the Niners. I win Tampa. I lose Cleveland under 8. I win the Yankees over 9.5. I win San Diego under 7.5, and I lose San Diego. So I go 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. I'm losing with Dylan Cease, and I'm and the 49ers 1-0. How do they not score on Miami? I mean, that's just insanity. So that's yesterday's. We'll get to today's. Let's look at the NBA. The first game is Thursday, Indy at Oklahoma City. We're going to take Oklahoma City. We did play the Indy to beat the Knicks. They win 125-108. Wasn't close. We were laying, I think, 3.5. And they win by 17, just the way I like it. They were in front the whole way, and they just kept them. They were do or die. So you really need to try to understand the do or dies back against the wall. If they lost, even though they could afford to lose and they wouldn't lose the series, they would have been 3-3 game 7 at New York, and they probably would have lost. So if they had to win this game to clinch at home, and you're going to play better at home. So they win 125-108, laying 3.5. That was a big bet. See, that's why it was a big bet. This game 1, Oklahoma City Indy, will probably be a small bet. And that's why I say in baseball, they're usually 2-unit bets. Once in a while, they're 3 units. And the parlay with Ric Flair and Freed, which I lost both sides. I'm in shock. Ric Flair usually is good, and Freed's been great. But even Scanes loses, but he's got a 2 ERA. So all you can do is bet the good pitcher. But here, this will probably be small. Game 1. Game 2, we'll see who wins. You really want Indiana to win game 1, and then we bet a ton on Oklahoma City in game 2. But I don't know if that'll happen. But OKC, game 1 should win it 68-14 against 50-32. So Oklahoma City should win this. I don't know what the odds will be on that, but they'll be pretty steep. All right. Let's go to football. Let's do college football first. Now, let's do pro because there's less of them. So I've talked pro football, just an update on any lines or any news that we've heard. We start off with Philly 7 over Dallas on a Thursday night, total of 46.5. Strong Philly defense should be the determinant, and then they're going to, of course, run Barkley. Dallas has no answer with Dak. At least 2 interceptions, maybe 3 by Philly. They'll get pressure on him, but he's not a very good thrower anyway. I know they'll take CeeDee Lamb away. They got this George Pickens. Good luck with him. They don't have a tight end. They don't really have running backs, although I thought they drafted a running. They're in big trouble, Dallas. Bad coach. I've never seen a team hire so many bad coaches one after another. I knew McCarthy wasn't going to do anything. He didn't do anything at Green Bay, and now whoever they replaced him with. Friday, Kansas City, 2.5, 44.5 in Brazil, Friday night. Normally it would be hotter weather. The total 44.5. You got to like Mahomes plus 3.5. This case, they are coming off the loss in the Super Bowl, so they will be mad like Cincinnati. It's just Mahomes doing Mahomes things. He'll get the W. San Diego, I don't like Harbaugh. Herbert's okay, but at home, San Diego, maybe you take him as a home dog. In Brazil, I don't think you have a time change. I think it's still like West Coast time. But I can get 3.5 in Mahomes. I just say thank you. That's all. What are you going to do with that? Can't bet San Diego. They lost a lot of running backs, so I don't know. And they lost Bosa. Harbaugh is like Trump. He doesn't know what he's doing. I think Denver's got a better chance of beating KC now than San Diego. All right, Carol. Now we go to Sunday. Carolina, Jacksonville. Jacksonville is now a 3.5-point favorite. 45.5, I believe. In this game, Carolina, terrible quarterback. The defense is kind of weak. Jacksonville, terrible quarterback. You brought in this guy from Colorado. What, Jones is his name? I don't. He shouldn't have never won the Heisman Trophy over Gentry. What are you kidding me? Too much politics with Prime. I don't. Were you letting him take over college football now? I don't know. Where's this guy going to play? Receiver or cornerback? He's a good receiver, and he's an average cornerback. But that's what you played at Colorado, was kind of an open to get him open. This is Jacksonville. He ain't going to do shit here. So I think he went to Jacksonville, didn't he? You still got Trevor Lawrence who can't throw the ball. So I don't really see. This has got to be an under. There's no offense on the field, so we will see. The Giants in Washington 7:45.5. We got Daniels, and the Giants have nobody. I don't know why they think Jackson Dart. I don't know why they think athletic quarterbacks over a accurate, good throwing, good reading quarterback is the answer. I don't really understand that. So I got Daniels, who's elusive but a great quarterback, and you got Dart, who is a little elusive but is not a great quarterback. So he doesn't win any big games, and I think you could get an over here because Daniels will score a lot. Washington's still weaker on defense than they need to be to challenge Philly. The Giants have they should start Danny DeVito, to tell you the truth. But Dart starts a terrible pick, so I don't see the Giants getting much offense here. Pitt 2.5, 39.5 to the JETSs. I think you look at, we look at if Aaron Rodgers is playing. If Aaron Rodgers is playing, we bet on Pitt. It's not a question. The Jets are terrible. They're the worst team in the league. The coach sucks. Pitt, on the other hand, is good defense, and they got a running back in the draft. And they got DK Metcalf. So depending on who their quarterback is, probably an under because there's just no offense here. Arizona, New Orleans, Kyler Murray, not much else. They tried adding some defense. They don't have a chance. I don't like their coach. New Orleans, their coach is terrible. The only hope is to start Jake Haener. And they still have Kamara and Olave, so they have talent. Can they use it? Haener can, but not to go with Rattler or this other guy. You got to be kidding me. I don't like their draft pick. These guys aren't very good, but they're mobile. And people, for some reason, think mobile is the same thing as thinking the tariff's going to be good for you. It's not. All right. So I like the under in this game. I don't see. Maybe they run Kamara 30 times. Arizona, Kyler Murray. Who's you going to throw to? No defense, really. Probably a low-scoring game here. Oakland at New England. New England's now 3.5, I believe, and 43.5. Oakland, look for Gentry. You got Coach Pete now. Geno Smith. I was watching the draft day, and they're saying how Geno Smith fell to the second round with the 2013 draft or whatever. And I'm going, I can't believe he got drafted. He was terrible in college. I think it was West Virginia, Virginia Tech, something like that. He was terrible. I can't believe he's in the pros and starting. That's how good Seattle was, right? You had Metcalf and you had Tyler Lockett, and you couldn't win with Jones. I mean, forget about it. Or Geno Smith. Look for them to play Coach Pete ball. Oakland, the tough D, and they're going to run Gentry. New England, Drake May's terrible. Um, no running, no receiving. I like their coach. He'll get the defense going, Vrabel. Um, that's about it. I think this will be a low scoring, close game. Definitely. Miami at Indy. I have Miami favored by 3. I don't know why Indy's favored. Richardson's terrible. Again, he wants to run. Okay, been there, done that. It doesn't work. Tag is okay, but Tyreek Hill's the difference in this one. Over a 45.5. I think it goes over because neither team has a defense. And I think Miami's a live dog in this game. Cincinnati, 5.5, 44.5 to Cleveland. You got to love Joe Burrow. Who's the quarterback going to be? Kenny Pickett for Cleveland? We're going to load up if it's Pickett. I'm more scared of Flacco than Pickett. Myles Garrett, okay. Cincinnati sees him twice a year. It's Burrow and Chase. He'll never get a chance. Because Burrow will get the ball out to Chase, boom, boom, and watch him run because they can't tackle him. And they're all paid. Burrow's paid, Chase paid, T. Higgins paid. They need to pay their defensive end. If he doesn't play, we're just betting him over. But I want to see them win the Super Bowl, and that's going to happen if you sign him and the other defensive guys play. They do have a running back now, Tajay Brooks, Texas Tech, very good. So look for Cincinnati big here. Over 44 depends on who the quarterback is. If it's Prime Junior, and I can't believe it'll be Prime Junior, I think the coach just says it. Oh yeah, Prime Junior, he's studying hard. I mean, come on. So if he's the quarterback, we're going to just dump on Cincinnati. It'll be huge. Tampa Bay, 2.5, 48.5 to Atlanta. Hard to believe Atlanta's a home dog with Penix, and then you add the Pierce, the defensive end from Tennessee, who's great, and the linebacker from Georgia, who's great. So now they have a defense to go with Penix in the offense, and Bijan Robinson, and then they got receivers. I like Atlanta here getting 8.5. I like it over 48.5 to 42.5. Tampa Bay, the Baker scores, but I don't know. Maybe it doesn't go over. We got to see, but it'll probably take a month for that defense to shift in Atlanta. But I'm gonna still like Penix as a home dog, especially Tampa is the road favorite. I really don't understand that. I think Atlanta, I have them as a 3-point favorite. So we get 8.5 with Atlanta with Penix as a home dog all day. The Niners, 1.5, 45.5 to Seattle. Gotta love the Niners here. As long as McCaffrey's back, which he is, you got Kittle playing, you got some new defensive guys. They always have a pretty good defense, the 49ers. And Purdy with McCaffrey, will be much better with the play action pass. Seattle's got nothing. Darnold, without Jefferson, he'll stink. The coach is a terrible play caller, no defense, and you got rid of DK Metcalf. Smith and Jami is not very good, so I don't know what they're doing there. I would have let Smith and GB go to keep Metcalf, but he probably didn't want to play with Darnold. So love the Niners and 4.5 and under 45.5, under 51.5 for sure. Denver 7, 43.5 to Tennessee. Love Denver. Give me Cam Ward, man. Watch him burn. Not a very good quarterback. Very good at Miami, not good at all at Washington State for 3 years. And I think he came from like one of these Division II schools. That might have been the guy from Ward. That was Herbert, I think. Ward came from somewhere. Then he went to Washington State, and he basically sucked for 2 years. Went to Miami, and, they must have done something on the offense where he ran a little bit more. Not a very good. On Tennessee, he's got no help. Denver, strong defense. Bo Nix. Look for Esteen. They're going to try to get him in, and we got Sean Payton. love Denver at home against this weak Tennessee team. You had Cam Ward, like he's not going to be Joe Montana week 1. He's not going to be Joe Montana year 5, but for a college quarterback to go to the pros and start the first game, he's not going to do good. Mostly what he doesn't understand, what he needs time, and why they should never start a rookie quarterback is you've got the speed of the defense is far greater than you saw in college, plus the coverages are far greater than you saw. He's not going to be able to run around like you did in Miami. And then you've got the different looks of the defense, and and you got to get used to your receivers and your running back and your offensive line. You got to get all the timings down. There's no way he's going to do anything the first 8 weeks, but I don't think he's going to do anything the first 8 years if he's there that long. He's not very good. If he wants to run around, we can watch Caleb run around and throw interceptions. So love Denver there, -1. Houston, LA should be a good defensive game. Houston, good defense, no offense. The Rams, Stafford's got Devontae Adams and Pukanuka. Look for them to score. Look for them to win the AFC West and be very good this year. They've got running, they've got defense, so they've got everything, and they've got the coach. Don't underestimate the coach. So it's a hard one. I think you go under. It's 46.5, I believe. I think this is an under. Houston just comes with the defense, and CJ Stroud cannot. He can't handle the speed of the game. He just wants to kind of run out of the pocket and roll to the right to the sidelines and hope one of his guys gets open. But as more teams see this, they start laying a guy back, and then he thinks the guy's open, he gets picked off. And they stop letting him just run to the right sidelines. They start boxing him in. And, he's not very good. So I think, laying 3, I think it's an under game with the Houston has a very good defense. Green Bay 1.5, 48.5 over Detroit. I have Detroit -3 here. I don't like Green Bay's quarterback, Jordan Love. They're both over teams. Neither team really has a good defense. I think there'll be a ton of scoring in the game. I don't see how they're going to hold Detroit back, even with this new offensive coordinator who probably sucks, but it won't matter. Golf will just start calling the plays. Not that he's not good, but that's what'll happen. And they'll just say, hey, let's run this play. Let's run that play. And that's what Johnny Unitas ran his own plays, Bart Starr. I'm sure Tom Brady ran his, and I'm sure Joe Montana ran his. So I think you get to the point where the new offensive coordinator will suck, but they just won't listen to him. And they'll definitely, they've got too much balance. You got a strong O-line with the very good receivers and a very good running attack and an average quarterback. So you get some points, you get some interceptions, but you get some points. Green Bay, Jordan Love's not really, he's not all that, but Green Bay should score. Over under 48.5. I like the over. Detroit doesn't really have a strong defense, although they, with Hutchinson, they weren't all that last year, and then all the injuries. So you think everybody's injured is going to be healthy. They're just going to be fine. They'll all be 100% and go. I was watching baseball yesterday, and Freddie Freeman, the first baseman from Atlanta on the Dodgers, hurt his ankle in the World Series or in the playoffs. That's October. That's when Hutchinson got hurt. Now it's June. He still hurts. He's still hard to run. He still has a lot of pain, and he still needs a lot. So this is 6 months later. He didn't break 2 bones in his leg. If you think Hutchinson's going to be ready, you're out of your mind. There's no way he's ready till at least October, probably November. Now he might be out there at 50%, but don't be surprised you see these guys go after his leg. That's what I would do. That's where Jack Tatum comes in. That's where Willie Brown comes in the Raiders. They would go after his leg and break it again. And that's what I see here. So you're not getting a healthy Hutchinson. So I like the game over here. Detroit, some games had a good defense against a very weak quarterback. Caleb lit him up. C.J. Stroud lit him up in the first half. And then you had obviously Trevor Lawrence, and Richardson. They played really bad quarterbacks. And they, so it made it look like they were better. So I like the over. I like Detroit getting 7.5. I don't think Green Bay got much better. Baltimore, Buffalo. This is a very Buffalo 1.5, 51.5. Love the over in the game. This is where you bet Lamar, not to win, but to score, and Josh Allen will score. So this will be 2 very high scoring teams. Very high scoring game in Buffalo. And 51, we need 45. I could take Baltimore in 7.5, but I don't trust Lamar, and Josh Allen at home can have a big game. They're going to score. Neither team really has a good defense. And if they do, it's going to take more than week 1 since they don't play in the preseason because they might get hurt. And our last game, Minnesota at the Bears. The Bears 1.5, 45.5. I can't play the Bears. I can't bet on Caleb. I don't know how good this new coach is going to be, Johnson. Minnesota, I like their defense, and I like Jefferson. I like their coach. Problem is J.J. McCarthy. Never played before. I don't know why they're so stubborn thinking they play him like he's good. Like, where did you see him play well? It sure as shit wasn't at Michigan. Handing the ball off in the whole second half against Penn State doesn't really drive me to thinking this guy's good. So I really don't see where they think McCarthy's good. Certainly not a first rounder. So you got weak quarterback against Caleb, who's terrible. Total of 40. I think it's 45.5. I like the game under. 2 very good defenses. So Chicago strengths their defense. Minnesota strengths theirs. McCarthy won't really move a lot on the Bears. And there's no way Caleb's moving on Minnesota. So you should see a low-scoring game. Maybe in the high teens, low 20s. So you go under 51 should be good. Now, this is all apt to change based on preseason, based on injuries, based on Aaron Rodgers going somewhere. Once we get that firm and we see injuries and stuff like that, then we can critique it a little bit more. But these are the starting. All right, college football. All right, so I went through some of it yesterday, but I'll go through the whole thing now. Kansas State 3.5, 50 to Iowa State. Rocco Beck, I believe, will be back. So I like Iowa State as a dog. Ivory was the quarterback for K-State. I believe he'll be back. He's more of an option because that's what Kansas State likes to run. Sort of like what Will Howard was doing. The Steelers will be fine with Will Howard. He's much better than Drake May or McCarthy, but he's no Penix. All right. Kansas 14.5, 51 over Fresno State. Mikey Keene is on Michigan. I wondered where he went. I thought he didn't get drafted. Didn't hear he got drafted. So he probably is going to go free agent, and who knows what Michigan paid him. That's what I hate about the NIL. These guys should be going pro. This is not, college is not to play 6 years and get paid by the college. You're getting school and books and tuition and rent, all that for free, and all your food. So I really don't quite understand what the hell they're doing. Hey, Prophet, good morning. So did you hit Indy yesterday? That was our big bet. And the Yankees over. All right. So Kansas 14.551 with Fresno State without Mikey Keene. Kansas is a very well coached team. They're a very explosive team. And last year they started having a good defense. I like Kansas here. I think 14.5. Under, as long as it's under 10. Yeah, you're all over and they say I don't know one name of any player in basketball, but I can pick it. Go figure that out. Stanford 354 over Hawaii. We got to see quarterbacks here. I think Slager, the quarterback for Hawaii, will still be the quarterback. I think they were probably a live dog. Stanford sucked last year. Their coach stinks. I just don't see them getting all better. And then going to Hawaii is always hard because you want to go on the beach, and Hawaii's used to it. So I think Hawaii's okay as a dog. And Western Kentucky 738 over Sam Houston. Sam Houston, very good defensive team. Western Kentucky was a very good team. The quarterback did get free agented. 738. It's a tough one. Sam Houston has a strong defense. Could make this a tight game, maybe an under. Hard to say. This is let's see who the Sam Houston quarterback is. So that's the 23rd. Let's go to the 28th. I've got some dates screwed up where I think they're the 28th, they're the 29th, or I think they're the 30th, they're the 29th. East Car goes to NC State. NC State minus 1257. I'll have to check the quarterbacks. East Car was pretty good last year. I did note that. So we will see. But I don't know. I got to see who NC State is, if they're any good. San Jose State, this is now the 29th, I believe, or 28th, 29th. When we get closer, we'll get to it. San Jose State 1051 to Central Michigan. I got to make my letters bigger. San Jose State's pretty good, especially at home. It's West Coast. Central usually has a decent offense and no defense. They have a decent offensive coach. I don't know. It's a tough one. It probably is an over in my mind. Rutgers 1048 to Ohio. Ohio, very good MAC team. Rutgers, it's run the ball and play defense. 10-48. I think you got to go under in this game because Ohio will play you tough defense. Profit. Me neither. I usually follow the sharp action to make most of my picks. Well, you don't want to do that because there's no such thing as sharps. I mean, how do you know the sharp's betting up? I would never listen to a sharp because they don't know anything. Very few people are in my level, so I don't know why you would follow it. And that's like buying Bitcoin because it's $105,000. You must have reasons to do betting. Otherwise, you're going to lose your ass. Thinking the sharps are going to be right is really a bad mistake. So be careful with that. It's been working well in baseball. How do you know when the sharp's betting it? Well, be careful. You really want to do your own work because you don't know what the Sharps are doing. But it's probably fixes, so that you might be okay there. All right. Minnesota 18-45 over Buffalo. Seems a little high. Minnesota had a good quarterback last year. He got better. He was bad in the beginning, got better. Buffalo, it's a good MAC team. I don't know. Probably an under game. Minnesota tends to play pretty good defense, and Buffalo, it depends. The MAC sometimes has good defenses, sometimes doesn't. Wyoming minus, I believe that's a 9. And 50 to Akron. Akron was our Z team, probably didn't get any better. I can't imagine NIL people going to Akron. Wyoming's probably a good play here. Akron probably will just keep betting against. Miami of Ohio, Wisconsin. Miami of Ohio was a very good team last year. Wisconsin 17-41. We got to see who their quarterback is. If Tyler Van Dyke is back and their quarterback and he's healed from his knee injury. 41. Probably an under here. Miami of Ohio has a good defense. They're a good team. They play Ohio State, so they're not like terrible, even though they're in a MAC. Jacksonville State, UCF 16-56. UCF's pretty explosive. Jacksonville State had a decent defense. UCF at home, I think they beat them. Boise 10-63 over South Florida. Maddox should still be their quarterback. He was pretty good, but the loss of Gentry is going to kill him. South Florida, pretty explosive team without much defense. So this should be a high-scoring game. You can see the total is 63. So we'll have to see about that. We got Nebraska 6-50 over Cincinnati at Cincinnati. I don't know if Nebraska's ready to be a road favorite. Cincinnati's pretty good at home. Pretty good team, pretty well coached. So Nebraska, this game's pretty even, I think. Nebraska at home, okay. Nebraska on the road to go and blow out Cincinnati, who's a decent team. I don't see that. Auburn 356 over Baylor in Baylor. I like Baylor. Sawyer Robertson, outstanding quarterback. Auburn, who do they have? Peyton Thorne again. Baylor should be a live dog in this game. I don't think Auburn's a good enough team to go on the road and beat them. 56. I don't know if Auburn has the offense or what their defense looks like. Baylor will score on you. So I feel better as Baylor is a home dog here. Tennessee State, Wake Forest. Wake Forest, 17-52 in Wake Forest. I don't know. What are you going to do with it? It's Wake's an SEC team, should be or no, they're an ACC team. Vandy's the SEC team. So Wake, a decent team. We'll have to check their offense out. Kennesaw State, there was their first year in Division I last year. We'll see. App State 9.5, 53 at Charlotte. Charlotte, they're both North Carolina, as I said yesterday. App State usually well coached. Joey Aguilar's on Tennessee now. We'll see who their quarterback is. Charlotte, we have to see what they're doing. Vegas 13.5, 57. We've got very strong defense for Vegas and Sam Houston. Gotta like this game under. Vegas, second best team in the Mountain West. Sam Houston, again, just very good defensive team. So we'll see, but it's the mindset of the coaches. The coaches will be, or their defensive coaches will keep it. It's like Tennessee. They're always going to have a strong offense because Josh Heupel is a very good offensive coordinator. You don't know is their defense. They did have a good defense last year, but it didn't really help them. I mean, they had like a 13-14 defense, and so did Mississippi, but the coaches, or offensive coaches, really didn't know how to coach to the defense. Georgia Tech 357 to Colorado. As long as Haynes Kings is my quarterback, I love it. So Colorado, you still have Prime. You don't have Prime Jr. or Johnson, the Heisman Trophy winner. What do you got? So you're going to be in some trouble with that. I like Georgia Tech's coach a lot better, and they bring a pretty good defense. I think it's an over with Kings, and I like Kings anyway. Colorado's going to be a mess this year. Texas A&M 21-57 against UTSA at A&M. UTSA got really good last year near the end. Good quarterback. A&M 21. It just seems like a big number to give UTSA, but we'll see. Because I like UTSA. Usually has a very good offense. I can't believe Frank Harris wasn't like. I don't know why the Jets or Carolina or the Giants don't bring in Frank Harris or Sam Hartman. I'm totally baffled by that. But we'll see. A&M usually a pretty tight defense. Probably an under game here. Although UTSA can score. The Roadrunners. Got to love the helmet, the Roadrunner. Utah State, 3.5, 58.5 at home against UTEP. UTEP usually sucks. Utah State, a little bit better, a little more offense. Probably an over game here. Yeah, the Sharps are always on the right side of any fixed game. Yeah, that's probably it. Hi, Bill. Welcome to class. Can you say hi to my little brother? Hi, Billy's little brother. Hi, Jimmy. How are you? Please let me know if you have questions or comments. Right now, it's college football. We talk pros. We went through baseball, and we had Indiana last night, and then we're going to get into gold and some comex. But, Jimmy, have a good day. Enjoy. All right. Michigan State, 17-49 over Western Michigan. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind the Oregon State coach, who's now the Michigan State coach, and their quarterback, Childs. It's one of these. He's quick, and he can he's not a very good thrower. We'll see if they got some better defense. And Western's a good MAC team. So it's really difficult here to judge the difference. But this is not a rivalry game, but it is like Michigan State plays Eastern and Western and Central Michigans, and they get up for those games. The MAC teams get up for it, but I don't know. Michigan State never normally blows out, especially early. I mean, they'll win this game by 10 or something, so I wouldn't lay 17 with it. UMass goes against Temple, and they made UMass the favorite. They're a Z team. 1.5, 52 to Temple. Now, Temple's terrible, and UMass is terrible. I don't know. We'll have to see who the quarterbacks are in this one. Georgia. Okay. Georgia's playing Marshall. Marshall's not a bad team. They're pretty well coached. We know how Georgia is. We love Georgia. My spread was 17 on the game. They're 40-point favorites. How the hell are they 40-point favorites? Total of 54.5. Marshall was a pretty good defensive team last year. Georgia's backup quarterback will now be their starter because I think Beck transferred. We'll have to see. 40-point. Georgia does not beat teams by 40 points. Georgia runs it down your throat and plays the killer defense. So it's usually 30-0. That's the type of games Georgia plays here. They're going to be pissed because they didn't win the championship. And I don't remember who they lost to. But look for Georgia. It's too many points against Marshall, who's a pretty good team, pretty well coached. What do you think about Wisconsin this year? Well, I don't know who their quarterback is. If the quarterback is Van Dyke, I like them because they normally have a good defense. And Luke Fickell is a good defensive coach. He was Ohio State defensive coordinator. So I do like Luke Fickell there. Let's see. So I don't know if they have Van Dyke and he plays well and their offense is going, they can be very tough. Um, so it's a little too early to see. We have to see him in action. Their first game, I think I just did I. Their first game is against. They're playing a MAC team, I think. Oh, I think I already saw them. Yeah, they're playing Miami of Ohio. They're laying 17. That'll show us a lot because Miami of Ohio is a good MAC team and a good defensive MAC team. So we'll see what they do there. But I don't know. I'm looking for a change. I thought with Van Dyke they'd do better, but he got hurt. Is he ready to play? I doubt he'll be ready because he got hurt, I think, mid-September. He got hurt in the Alabama game on a cheap shot. So we'll see. They should have the good defense that they always have. So it's really up to the quarterback and, are they going to be a little more open? But yeah, they're always a solid team. We will see. They could be better than Penn State if they have Van Dyke. Their quarterback is Braden Locke. Van Dyke is injured. Well, he hurt his knee against Alabama, so I don't know if he's ready. Braden Locke, I don't know. Is he new or did he transfer somewhere? I haven't heard him. Is he Locke's brother, the other Locke from Missouri? He's all right. Well, it depends what Fickle wants to do with his offense. You really need that strong running back to play to his defense. So if he has that, they really need the key is always to have a balanced offense. You got to have receivers and running backs like in Ohio State where you don't know what they're going to do, right? That's why Ohio State's so good is they can run it down your throat or throw it down your throat, and you can defend both. That's the good teams. You can see Alabama probably with a much better quarterback this year than Milrose, and look for them to do what they did with Penix at Washington because that Dubose is the coach. Yeah, I was just going to say the running backs are going to carry the team this year, I believe. Well, then it should be Wisconsin has great running back coaches. Yeah, well, they always have good running backs. But you need some passing because then what are the good teams? Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, they put 8, 9 in the box, and now you can't run. That's why you have to have a balanced offense. So they need a quarterback who can balance the defense so they don't know if he's running or throwing. And I hate these teams with the empty backfields. You've got to surprise the team. If you got an empty backfield, pretty much you're going to throw the ball or you're setting up for a quarterback draw if you have a good quarterback. So really that's the point. Yes, it's the quarterback has to be good enough that you got to play pass on him. If they have that quarterback, and I don't know why they never do, except for Russell Wilson, if you can believe that one. He was great there. All of a sudden, they're putting up 45 points a game, and Russell Wilson was playing baseball, and then he decided to go back to football. That's why I don't understand Russell Wilson now. He's a great quarterback, and everybody's picking on him, and I'm like, well, he's still a great quarterback. What team is he on? No, I can't remember, but I like you got to have that. But Wisconsin's never had a quarter. I don't know why they can't get a quarterback. But anyway, we'll see as the season goes how good this new guy is. But I'm hoping Van Dyke gets back. We know he's a star, so they'll be good with Van Dyke. Russell Wilson is on the Giants. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, then the Giants, they open a okay, so I like the game over a little bit more now because Washington's got no defense. The Giants have a decent defense. If Russell Wilson is the starter, and I can't imagine Jackson Dart starting over Russell Wilson. So, yeah, I probably will change that Giant Washington game to an over because Russell Wilson will get you 20 points. Daniels might get you 30 or 40. I get the strangest messages. People call me, don't know who I am, and they give me the wrong name. Hey, Fred, what you doing today? The fuck is this? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, Wisconsin. I mean, they could be Georgia if they would go to a Georgia defense and a Georgia offense. Georgia just pounds it down your throat, but they can throw the ball, and they get a Brock Bowers. So really that's Wisconsin doesn't have a Georgia defense for a team that's a good defensive team. And that's I'm surprised they haven't gotten to that level of defense. All right, let me go on. Anyway, Georgia 40 points. I don't see them covering 40. I don't see Marshall being that bad. They had a pretty good defense. Texas State 14-57 to Eastern Michigan. I got to see who's the quarterback. If it's last year's quarterback and I didn't hear him getting drafted or going like free agent after the draft. So if he's still there, I love this guy. Great quarterback. I can't remember his name. McLeod. Jordan McLeod. This guy is outstanding. So if he's still there, we're going to be jumping on Texas State a lot like we did last year. Purdue 16-50 to Ball State at Purdue. Purdue sucked last year. I can't imagine they're any better. Couldn't get any worse, I guess. But Ball State, not a very good team. We'll have to see. You really have to see who is returning, right? Who did they lose? Who transferred out? Especially these MAC teams. This is where it gets really difficult in the MAC teams. All of a sudden, the MAC team, goes out, and their star players go to Michigan, go to Ohio State, and you're like, and they're not good enough to get Jack Lambert every year, so it makes it difficult. Jack Lambert played for the MAC, Kent State. Prophet, do you know anything about quarterback Lenore Sellers? Yeah, he's a good runner, and he got him a lot of points. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. He's a very good runner, but I think he's more like McLeod. McLeod is a runner at Texas State, but he can throw the ball well. And I think Lenore Sellers is sort of like that. He's first when I saw him, he was just confused and he'd run around, but now I think he's passing better. I don't know. It depends how well he throws the ball. We got enough running quarterbacks that suck that we don't need another. Pete Carroll has expressed interest in him as a possible draft pick next season. Well, whip-de-doo for Pete Carroll. I mean, who knows? He might get injured. And he was a freshman last year. He's only a sophomore. I don't even think he's eligible to get drafted. But yeah, he'd be a good pick on the Raiders. Better than Milrose for sure. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, Prophet. All right, Fresno State without Mikey Keene, 1.5, 54.5 to Georgia Southern. We'll have to see about that. We got to see who Mikey Keene's backup is. And then we need Georgia Southern. They're a pretty good offensive team, so probably an over here, but we got to see. Arizona, 11.5, 52 to Hawaii. Arizona was a very good team 2 years ago. Last year, the coach went to, I believe, Oregon State or Washington. He went to Washington, and Arizona fell apart. Fajita was average last year. It's so much dependent on the coach, right? You got like Jordan Love was great at Utah State his junior year, and he sucked his senior year. So when the new coach comes in, changes the offense, and all of a sudden the quarterback's lost. just like Fajita. So they were not very good. Arizona State was the good team, and they got their quarterback back. Michigan, 34.5, 51.5, New Mexico State. Now, they have Mikey Kane. They did sign this freshman who's highly heralded. Who knows if he's any good? I always question it because they've been playing high school players. Now they got to play college players, and it's a big difference. So with Mikey Keene, I think they're good. I don't know about 34.5, and I don't think New Mexico is that bad. I'll have to research New Mexico, but it seems like a big number for Michigan. Lou Lafayette, 1452 to Rice. Lou Lafayette's always well coached, always a good scoring team. We'll see how Rice is, but so right away you like Lou Lafayette. Tulane, 746 over Northwestern. I like Tulane in the game. Very powerful team, offense and defense, very strong. And Northwestern has no offense for some reason. Decent defense. The coach got fired last year for something. I don't remember what. So Northwestern's just kind of a weak team, but I like Tulane at home, only laying 7. Virginia's 12-57 to Coastal Carolina. I don't know. Coastal Carolina can have a good team. They had a good quarterback. Then he transferred and he got hurt. So I don't know who their quarterback is or Virginia's. Tennessee, 12.5, 55. We know Joey Aguilar is Tennessee's quarterback from App State. Very good. Very good quarterback. Syracuse, they had somebody. They brought in the Ohio State guy. As far as I know, he's done. He got drafted. He was not very good. So we'll see who their backup is. This is a game Tennessee will blow them out. Tennessee at home against the weaker team with Joey Aguilar. They're going to throw it all over the field. And if they have any of the defense back from last year, look for Tennessee this year. So I like Tennessee under a touchdown. That's absolutely. See, when you're familiar with the quarterbacks, it makes it so much easier to pick. But when you don't know who they are, they could be great and they could suck. It's very hard to pick it. As we get to Ohio State, Texas. Ohio State 350 at Ohio. I don't know what you do with this game. I know I've never seen Arch Manning. All he does is apparently run the ball. I've not seen him throw a ball. Ohio State, who's their quarterback going to be? I'm sure they'll pay for a good one. They'll probably start going to the pros and getting their quarterbacks. But they did lose Chip Kelly and they lost their defensive coordinator. I think the coach gets fired this year, the Ohio State coach, if they lose to Michigan. You can't lose five games in a row in Michigan. I mean, I've never seen anything like, and Michigan stuck last year. And what puzzles me is they didn't do anything, and then they went in and they killed Oregon, you killed Notre Dame. Where was that against Michigan? And yes, I'm pissed because I had Ohio State in the game. I think I bet it under because I couldn't trust Ohio State. Well, what the fuck were you doing? So he loses to Michigan this year, he's fired. So we'll see. But this is a nice game. I don't know why Texas is playing it when they get to play LSU and Georgia and Alabama. What the fuck are they? And the Oklahoma game. Ohio State at home. It depends who's their quarterback, right? And both running backs got drafted. Ibaka got drafted, who was these guys are decent receivers. They're not as good as the idiot makes them sound on TV. Total of 50. I think the under is the play because they'll lead up Arch Manning and Ohio State's new quarterbacks. They're going to probably run the ball a lot. Both have probably good defenses, so I think the defense will control, and this should be an under. Kentucky 11-48 to Toledo. Toledo, always a very good MAC team. Kentucky, always but not that good. They seem to have good defenses and no offenses. Hard to say. We'll have to see. But Toledo is a very good MAC team. Mary, 17-57 to Florida Atlantic at Maryland. Maryland's usually an explosive team with no defense. Florida Atlantic can usually score and have no defense. I would say this probably goes over 57-51. Washington, 18.5, 51 to Colorado State. Who's Washington's quarterback? They have the new coach from Arizona. They were decent last year in the Big Ten, and every time they traveled to to Michigan or to the East, they lose, and every time they traveled to the West, they won. So it's a really strange league right now. Four Pacific, 4 Atlantic, and then 8 in the Big Ten. So it's a strange thing. We'll see. I mean, Washington's got a good coach. Colorado State, I don't know. They've been very bad. So I don't know. Washington usually with a pretty good defense. So I don't think I'd go over 51. I think they'll pound you a lot. And we'll see who the quarterback is. Really good game here. Utah 351 over UCLA at UCLA. Utah, Cam Rising is retired because of his hand when he hit the Gatorade bottle, container, not from his knee, which I was shocked. How bad was the hit on his hand that he has to retire? He gets some bad injuries, Cam Rising. So the question is, how good is the new quarterback, UCLA? They lost their coach and their defensive coordinator, and they struggled a lot last year with the new coaches. They're usually pretty good at home. I think this is an under. UCLA's had a good defense. Utah has a great defense usually every year. Depending on if the quarterbacks suck, then it's hard to bet on Utah to win on the road with a weak quarterback. However, they're going to run it down their throat, and they're going to play this really strong defense. So I think this is an under game. Nevada, Penn State. We got Penn State 45-60. I thought Drew Allard was done, but apparently he's still there. I think because of COVID, they can play like 6-7 years now in college. It's ridiculous. So you're getting these 25-year-olds playing. Allard's never been very good, especially in the big games. Is Nevada that bad? I don't know. Even if they're a Z team, which we won't know right away, 45 points. That's a big number. I don't know about that. We'll have to really research Nevada. Ole Miss, 37.5, 61.5 to Georgia State. Georgia Southern was the good team last year, not Georgia State, although they could score. Georgia State. Ole Miss, you lose Jackson Dart. You lose one of their key defensive linemen. The coach I hate. He's a quitter, and we'll see. They get the NIL money, 37.5, but they are at home. Maybe that's doable, but usually I like to that week 1 lock is usually against the Z team, not against a team that's like Nevada or Georgia State. Are they really that bad? And I don't think Penn State is a team I'm going to lay a lot. It's more a big offensive team. Old Mississippi State, 14-57 to Southern Miss. Old Mississippi State, they were terrible last year. Southern Miss, terrible last year. The game's at Southern Miss, 14 points. Obviously a rivalry game, 57. I'm going to lean towards the total in this game as soon as I figure it out. Old D goes to Indiana. Indiana, 23.5, 54. Indiana, I guess, has a good quarterback to replace Rourke, who was very good. I like their coach. They just rip you apart. They got a great offensive system, good defense. I'm sure they added it. Indiana could win the Big Ten this year. Ohio State has to replace some coaches and quarterback and some running backs, although they'll always have good running backs. That's what Ohio State is. Excuse me. All right. So then They'll be a solid team. The question is how good's Old D, and I got to look at my stats. I was looking at my page yesterday for quarterbacks. I will fill in last year's final scores on these teams. Is Old D a Z team? Are they an A team, an E, an over? And we'll use that as a guide for week one. Normally, the Z teams will still be Z teams. Alabama, 12 and a half and 50 to Florida State. Who's Florida State's quarterback? I love their coach, but anybody that goes to Oogly or Boogly has got to be crazy. Alabama, 12 and a half, gets rid of Milrose, so that's an improvement. I like their coach at Washington. I don't know if I like him at Alabama. We'll see. Total of 50. Depending on Florida State's quarterback, this should be an over because Alabama is going to score a lot. But we'll see. Maybe we take Alabama. Again, we got to see who the quarterbacks are in this game. Alabama's defense, iffy with this coach, although should be okay. Florida State could be a great defense. Again, good coaching, but we'll see. LSU, Clemson 356. I'm not sure if this game is at a bowl game or at Clemson. I love LSU as a dog. Klubnik is a good quarterback for Clemson, as is I can't remember the LSU quarterback's name, but he's a good Neusmeyer, I think. He's a good quarterback too. This should be high scoring. LSU always seems to get a good defense. Clemson's fallen way off. They're not. Clemson should never be favored here. So I like LSU as the dog, and I like the game over. Again, you've got returning quarterbacks, so we know what we have. Oregon State, 1.5, 52 against Cal at Oregon State, who's not in any league. Or I guess they're the Pac-2 now. Cal played pretty decent last year. Oregon State, who knows? They're not in a conference. I think this is a close game. I think I maybe like Cal as the dog. And then for total, I'm not sure. I gotta look at remember last year's team, and I need my Gray Sports Almanac to really see they had a great defense and it's all back, or they had a great defense and now they don't have anybody. But with NIL, you could have 10 new defensive players who are very good, but they didn't play there last year. So this is where NIL's kind of we'll have to figure that out. Here's your South Carolina 10 and 46 with Lenora Sellers. Virginia Tech, not a bad team. I think South Carolina beats them because the game's at home, and Sellers is now a sophomore. Virginia Tech, they don't really scare me here in this game, so I probably like South Carolina laying the 4. But we got to see. In our last game, Notre Dame 354 over Miami. Not sure where the game's at. If it's probably neutral, because if it was at Miami, I would think Miami would be favored. Unfortunately, we would have locked Notre Dame getting points. But Notre Dame laying the 354. Notre Dame with the defense. You've lost Cam Ward, your new quarterback. Who the hell knows? I'm not sold on the coach. I was surprised they scored that much with Cam Ward. So from that standpoint, I like Notre Dame laying 3, getting 3. And as far as the total, we don't know. I mean, if Miami, we got to see who the quarterback is. And the problem is, like in college, you need to see. The problem is you get Cam Ward's at Washington State, and he's not very good for 2 years, and then he goes to Miami. Well, you don't know how he's going to be there for at least 3 or 4 games until you go, oh, well, he's changed. They've changed the offense. He's not as bad as he was at Washington State. Certainly not a number 1 draft pick, and he certainly won't do anything at Tennessee. He'll be like Caleb and C.J. Stroud, where he's like, yeah, I think you wasted a draft pick. I love Will Levis is upset because Will Levis has never been drafted. This is my point. He was a first-round draft pick. The guy sucked. Caleb was the first pick, and you missed Penix and Daniels. I mean, what do you These GMs are so fucking stupid. I'll tell you, after watching Draft Day, you just see how dumb they are. They don't know what they're doing. So that's it. My take on this movie, Draft Day. Let's kind of walk through it. He gives 3 first rounders for Bo Nix, and then he starts wondering if Bo Nix is any good. Wouldn't you have done that before you made the trade? Because then you decided you don't want him, and then you took a linebacker with the first pick, which is ridiculous. I look to see the record after that season. Did they win 5 games? So why would you trade? First of all, I'd tell the owner to fuck off if he was telling me who to take. We need a splash. You need to win. You want to sell tickets, you win. It's not about we need a splash. I don't know why all the owners think you need a quarterback or you need to score a lot of points. Tell that to Philadelphia. They did just fine with the great defense in Barkley. So he makes the trade. Then I'm not sure about the quarterback that I just traded for. Yeah, you're just scratching your head, and then you want Vonnie Mack. So why would you make the trade? Or if you do make the trade, you should, I don't know. I would never have done it. And then the question is, why did Seattle make the trade? Here they got their hands on the quarterback that they ended up drafting anyway. Why did they make the trade in the first place? To get 3 first-round picks? And then if you did get them, then why wouldn't you? If you thought about it logically, there was no way that what's the guy's name? Who's the GM? The guy 3,000 miles from Graceland. What's his name? Kevin Costner. There was no way Kevin Costner was going to take him if he didn't take him with the first pick. Why would he take him in the 6th pick? So had the guy been shrewd, he would have said, "No, I'm not interested. You go draft him, but you're not going to." Although it could have looked like he might have taken him, but why would he have not taken him with the first pick? And so you have these faults in the movie where then he's like, Bo, did anybody go to your birthday? And then he lies again. He said, "Well, I can't remember. Do you remember? Do you remember the big game? Do you remember the Ohio State game where you got sacked 4 times? What do you remember?" But he should have found all that out earlier. And then at the end, then they get a running back and a defensive tackle and a punt returner. I don't know the value there. But it was a weird movie. It was a movie that, like, is this guy an idiot? Like, now he's doing his research before, after he traded for him. Then he's wondering if I made a mistake. Really strange. Anyway, it was I don't know. It's a stupid movie. I'm like finding out as I'm being more stoic. I don't even watch. It's like I tell you, like, I don't want the whole. So let's say this is 1983 Topps football. Well, I don't want the whole set. Before I wanted the whole set. Now I wanted the Warren Moon card, the Joe Montana card, the Walter Payton card. This is before Jerry Rice. I think it's before Montana and Elway. So I want Montana, Payton, a few cards. This is 83, I think. No, this is an 85 card. So I think the Rice rookie's in here. But I only want to select few cards, right? The Rice rookie, no, he was in 86. The Montana card, the Peyton card, the Marino rookie, and the Elway rookie. That's it. I don't want the whole set. Well, I'm starting to watch movies like that. So I'm watching. If I watch um, rounders. I only want to watch the first scene and the last scene. I hate all the Edward Norton uh, scenes. And then I was watching. What was I watching? I watched The Gambler. I only want to watch the scenes in Vegas. Just rewind to the scene in Vegas where he hits in craps and he hits in blackjack, and I see the Stardust sign. That's it. I don't want to watch the rest of the movie. So now I'm down to scenes like I want to watch. It's crazy. Um, all right, what else? All right, gold. We know gold's hasn't moved. It'll move tonight with China. From what I see now, China knocks it down a little bit, and then buys it near the end at 2 in the morning, and Europe kind of buys it, and America is kind of buying it. So I don't know what's going on, why China is waiting, but that's their new thing, according to Mark McGuire. So we're still right around 3,300. We have, again, Basel III hitting July 1st, which will force them to cover the stand for delivery, gold and silver options, which will make the price go up dramatically, as we see in gold being 3,200 when Basel III hit Europe. You'll see it even go up more in the U.S., and then it'll go up again for silver. I think we'll finally see silver go. There's just too much outstanding, but they're not forced to settle. So even all these, they're 30,000 tons short, but you can't force them to settle it. So they just let it go. And I think they're near the end of that. China goes right to the mine and buys the silver, and then goes to Switzerland to get it made, and then puts it in their shell, in their vaults. So I think that's what you're seeing more and more of, and they're just running out of silver. So go buy your silver at $35 and just enjoy it, because that's about to really go to the moon. I see copper, they say, is ready to go, but again, it's still price fixed, so I don't know. Basel III with copper, and it's really cheap. It's like 4 cents, so I'm not wasting my time on it, but it should move. Stock market's crashing. China is just bankrupt all over the place. They don't have a stock market. It's very trusted. Their housing market's gone. Their banks are, you can't get your money out. Coming to a theater near you, everybody. So be very careful. As far as food, I think we'll be okay, because we grow it in America. So I think what we're becoming is a loner. You want free trade with everybody because they do things better than you. It's like trading a football player. Oh, I want to trade for Chase at Cincinnati. You can't just keep your guys. I want to trade for Chase because Cincinnati's got Chase, or I want to trade for Jefferson, Minnesota. But that's what you're doing with China and Japan and Europe and Africa. You're trading to get their Chase, their Jefferson, whatever they make very good. Spices, copper, iron ore, whatever it is that they have, you want to trade it. It's got to be free trade, though. You cannot have this bullshit tariffs. It's costing jobs. It's not good. There's nothing good about it. It's a tax that people will eliminate and not pay. People always avoid paying taxes. I went to the grocery store yesterday. Since I got Chinese Friday because my pool was closed, I yesterday went and got a steak at my steakhouse, and it was the cheapest one was $13. And normally something's 10, but like the New York strip and all of them, the Monaco were like $16, $17. And I noticed that. And then all the fish is like $20, but it's been 20 for a while. But hamburgers are still cheap. I could have got 3-pound of hamburgers, $5.99. Crown, the 85%. Everybody, I will probably come back. So keep that in mind. Brics is going gold. July 17th, they are already started going gold. China has been trading with Brazil, and China has been trading with India, not using the dollar. Russia can't use the dollar. So it's funny how you force these people out of the dollar, out of the SWIFT system. And it's all trade, right? The U.S. being the reserve currency just means for FX and trading, and you had to use it for oil, but you don't need it for oil anymore. And now for FX, you're not needing it. So all of a sudden, all these dollars are coming home to roost, creating mass inflation because now at least people were using your dollars. Now nobody's using them. Now they come back. Massive inflation, which is not prices going up. I don't know why people look at like the CPI and well, inflation is 2%, 3%. What are they using? Well, we don't count this, and this. We don't count house prices going up. We don't count car prices going up. And they do year over year. It's fucking ridiculous. What do you mean year over year? You got to go back to 1971 when we went off of gold. And, you know, a car was 2,500 in 1971, is now 50,000. You want to say there's 2% inflation? You're out of your fucking mind. So again, this year over year inflation is bullshit. I don't know where they're coming, but this is what the problem is. So everybody believes it. And then when I raise my hand and say this is not how you measure inflation, then I'm a conspiracy theorist. I love when you've got somebody beat and then they have to use that it's a conspiracy theory, not that I'm actually more intelligent. And I just kind of, that's why I'm stoic. I just got to laugh at it going, whatever. I was proud of Daria today. She said, I'm going up to Katya's cottage. And I was like, fine. So when I don't hear from you for 5 days, I know you're safe at the cottage. I said, that's the problem. I just can't get a hold of you. I don't know where you are. Just tell me in front. Don't tell me behind. So now she said, we're up to the cottage. And then I think Katya got on, but she didn't say she was Katya. She said something like hi or something. And so I knew it wasn't Daria. And I kind of could feel it was Katya because I said, say hi to Katya. And so she was saying hi back. Well, it wasn't Daria. I mean, she would have already said hi. So anyway, I thanked her for taking her up there. So Daria's feeling better and she'll get a couple of days or a week up there. And it's nice and it's warm there. They're in their upper 80s and Jenna and she's now at Odessa, which is on the Black Sea, and it's really hot there. And it's funny, they're in the middle of a war. And she says, well, the beaches were really crowded with people. So the people are just going on as business as usual. And you're in the middle of a war. And so we're used to seeing World War II, right? The Russians and the Americans bombing everything and coming to Berlin. Here they're in the middle of a war and nobody. Yeah, we're going to the Black Sea and barbecue at the beach, and you just laugh. I mean, you're like, are you kidding me? What the hell are you doing? So I don't. Maybe they don't know there's a war going on, or maybe it's a really strange war. I think it's mostly on the Russian border, and Odessa is all the way on the other side. It's like 11 hours on the other side near Romania. So it's a big country, right? So here's Russia, and then here are these little Russian cities they're trying to get back. Donetsk, Kharkov, and then Odessa's over here on the Black Sea's over here, and Romania is over here. So here's like Europe, Romania, Poland, Hungary, and with Russia being this side. But so Russia's just on this side, and now Jenna's over here, and I thought Russia wanted Odessa, but I don't know. Anyway, very very strange going on there, and everybody's like, going there. And I showed you, I think, the candy store. So I said, go to the candy store, get some candy. It was a great candy store. I'll show you these candies. Very It's a nice store. It's funny. This is how the grocery stores look in Europe. They put the fish out there whole, and then there's like a starfish and all these fish, but we kind of cut them up. They just put them out there whole. Let's see. And then you see this in Europe where they have all the FX for each of the currencies, which we never see here. I mean, you can't exchange. I can't take this euro and go to the bank and say, "Give me $5 for it." There's no exchange rate. And and then here's Amsterdam. So you get a steakhouse. This is Argentinian beef. They make a big deal about it. That's what it looks like. And that's where the girls are. And that's kind of what it looks like outside. They got the canal going through and everybody's on a bicycle. That's Europe for you. All right, let me get to the candy. All right. So starting here, this is just a bowl with candy, and then you got black and red candies. And this one was my favorite, all the colors. This is the Big Ten. This is like red and white. I don't know who that would be. Kansas City, I guess. And then the gummy bears on the bottom. This is red and black. Oregon State, I think. And this was Miami, orange and green. This was the Pittsburgh Penguins, black and yellow and white. And this was the Big Ten here, or this might be the SEC because you got the yellow for Tennessee, and it just looks so pretty. And then this is Michigan, maize and blue. So I mean, you just walk through this candy store like that, and it was great. And that's where Jenna's. This is Odessa Beach, That's the Black Sea, and you'd sit on these mattresses, and they were like $20 for the day. And you'd sit there and then you go in the water and they would heal my gout. If you ever have gout, go here, go to the Black Sea, and it'll cure it immediately. I put my foot in and it was fine. So you sit there, you move it, they serve you lunch and drinks, and that's it. Anyway, I got to kill this guy who lives above me. He's again with the music. Like, I don't want to hear your crap. Who listens to music anyway? Like, don't you use headphones? And, I keep saying you're too loud. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear this or the dog barking. So I keep complaining and fuck it. I don't want to hear anything. I'm living here. You're interrupting my environment. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. So shut the fuck up. It's funny. The other people who live there, I never heard them. Very rarely did I hear them. They had a dog. The dog never barked. This dog barks all the time. But during the week, they're not home, or they don't. I don't know what it is. I don't hear them during the week, but I tend to hear them on the weekend. And again, they put on their music. Although they're getting better as far as later, I think they realize by 10 o'clock they better shut the fuck up. Because there definitely is a city ordinance. I could call the cops on them, and they probably don't want that. But basically, I've complained. I just sent an email saying the dog's barking, the music's loud. So tell them to fuck off, especially when I got to do class. All right. So we see more and more China. The tariffs are causing things to be more expensive in China. So China's starting to sell to other countries. So what's happening is the U.S. is all alone now, which is a bad thing. You don't want to be all alone. So basically, China's selling to Korea, and they're selling to Japan, and they're selling to Europe. They're starting to sell with Germany. And Brazil and things like that. So they're selling to other countries. They turn down our soybeans, they turn down our meat delivery. Um, Things are more expensive. Apple, I wouldn't want to own Apple stock because they won't be able to make their iPhone because a lot of their parts for the phones are made in China. China's your supplier. Why are you pissing off and fucking over your supplier? And then who's going to make your goods since we don't make our own goods? So Trump is under the delusion. This guy's really becoming really delusional. So Trump's under the delusion that all the companies will move here and we'll get taxes and we'll lower the prices. That's not how it's worked. Free trade. You work in China and you compete and sell the goods. If you would just use Austrian economics, you wouldn't have any of this. This is more Keynesian economics. George Soros, this Scott Niedermayer guy is a George Soros guy. Very, very bad situation we're in. So you have to understand that. It's going to be big trouble. Like I said, so July 1st with Basel III, finally see gold and silver. I don't know why they're holding it back. You would think they'd want to buy as much as they can, but what they're buying is strictly to pay off the derivatives. It's got nothing to do with we're going to have a gold standard. Now, people afraid of the CBDCs understand it's still paper bullshit money. So if there is a CBDC, it's still going to use monopoly money. So this goes away. They use CBDCs, and this is not going away. The mafia will never let it go away. CBDCs come out. Well, they're still going to be back. There's no difference between that and Bitcoin, right? They both are backed by nothing. So if you're into a CBDC, first of all, you're out of your mind if you want to be controlled. But secondly, it's not worth anything. If things aren't backed by something, they're not worth anything. If this is backed, if this is backed by the Montana card, then fine, then you're okay. It has something, it has an asset of value backing it. But if this is just backed by thin air, it's not worth anything. That's why I show you the cards. So here's my Bobby Orr. So I show you this. This is backed by the cardboard and the player. This is backed by, it's Bobby Orr, and it's a tops. It's in pretty damn good condition, pretty well centered, good corners. Really sharp. Anyway, so this is let's say a mint card. It's worth because it's mint and it's Bobby Orr. That's where the value comes from the card. If you have a Rolex, it's the value of the Rolex. It's a Jordan card. It's a Brady card. It's Will Chamberlain. It's Magic and Bird. That's why they're worth something, is who it is, or the Rolex. Oh, it's got diamonds. It's a Submariner or whatever. That's where the value is. Oh, it's a Picasso. It's a Van Gogh. It's not that just it's a painting, but it's who did the painting. And so if you have CBDCs or Bitcoin, it's not worth anything because it's not. If you take the dollar away, you have nothing. So just understand that. So don't get, even if there is CBDCs and nobody wants to be controlled, I don't think I'll have to take it. I think it'll be an option like Bitcoin. If you want Bitcoin, you buy it. But if you don't want it, there's still dollars. You still use your debit and credit card. So I believe that's what you're looking at. And with that, I think you'll understand it. You'll be safe. But the more gold and silver you have, then they can't control you at all. And the problem will be going to the gold store. He'll give you the money, but how is he going to pay you? That's why we need money, or we're going to be running off of gold. This I'm not sure. And when Florida says we're now like gold is valued, it's you don't want to spend it because you're not getting the true value. You don't want to get $3,300 for it. You want to wait till it goes up to $10,000-$15,000 and then maybe use it. But that's why it's going to be tough. So gold hits 50,000. what is the 50,000 worth? I showed you this last week, but I'll show it to you again. Um, so what's gold worth in Russia, let's say? So here we see gold at basically 32.90, basically 3,300. That's in US dollars. But let's look at it in Russian dollars. So the value of gold in Russia is 253,891. Well, wow, I'm rich. No, because the ruble is 80 to 1. So $1 buys you 80 rubles. So really that's all that is the 3,300 times 80 to get you to 253,000. So are you rich? If I Daria a 1 ounce coin, she's got 253,000 rubles. Is she rich? Well, she could go to the grocery store for maybe a month, pay her rent, but no, her rent costs 27,000 rubles, which is basically $320. So even though you get a lot, the dollar isn't worth anything. So this probably shows you where we're headed. So even though it's 253,000, it doesn't buy you anything, right? How much is a car there? Um, if it's $40,000 for a Camry times 80, it's a lot of money. It takes a lot of rubles to buy, a can of corn or something, or so to buy a car, it's really difficult to do. You need a lot of rubles to buy it because the rubles doesn't have a value. So that's why it's good for us to go there. And with $1, I'm at 80, right? So that's kind of the point to it. So you've got to be very careful if gold's $100,000. Well, and that's the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's $100,000, but what is the dollar worth? And you can see what rubles. Gold's 253,000 rubles. Buys you a pack of gum there. I mean, like I said, her rent's 27,000. It's not a nice. It's a decent place. It's not great. $27,000 a month is 3.25. The problem is if the dollar's sliding, now it's going to take me $500 to pay her rent or $1,000 to pay her rent because the U.S. won't be worth much. Why the ruble's that low, I have no idea. Now, when Putin goes to the gold-backed currency, it's going to reverse. Then all of a sudden, the gold will be much more. The ruble backed by gold will be worth a lot more than it is now. So keep that in mind. What the hell? I don't know. You get on the wrong thing, and the people think you're somebody else. Hey, Randy, I'm not Randy, so I just keep blocking everybody. Anyway, so keep that in mind. It's because none of the currencies are worth anything, like the ruble or the yuan. The yuan is only 7 to 1. Let's see what gold is in China, as long as we're having fun. So in China, which is 7 to 1 to the dollar, it's 23,000. Notice the same graph. I think it just uses this graph. So China's 23,647 for an ounce of gold. But again, it's all irrelevant. divided by 7, and you're back down to 3,300. So it's what does the yuan buy you there? See, that's the real point about the money is you might have that's where I get you with the guy Luke's friend who has $4 million. Well, what does it buy you? And it buys you less and less. You go to the grocery store, like I said, I got a steak and some chicken and 2 things of blueberries, and it was $50. I mean, it doesn't buy you anything. I mean, it should cost me maybe 5, 10, $12. Now it's costing me 50. So just that's what's happening. It just doesn't have value. So you've got to be very careful with that, and understand it. So even if gold goes to 3,000 an ounce, but what is the 3,000 buy you? Now, here's where you take advantage. You owe your mortgage or you owe your credit card payment. Well, that hasn't really changed. As the inflation's eating in, really, so let's say you owe $5,000 on a credit card. As the inflation's eating the dollar away, you really should owe 7,000 or 8,000, but you still only owe 5. And as you can see, the value of the dollar is slipping. So as gold goes up to now 3,300, it was 2,000, but the money hasn't moved, and the credit card is still $5,000. It should have gone to 8, but it stays at 5. And that's the advantage of taking out credit with inflation. As the dollar crumbles and you have gold and silver, and as that goes up, to keep balance. So gold's 3,300, and let's say it goes to 5,000, but your credit card balance is going to stay at 5,000. But you can see you've made money on the gold. You can sell it and pay off your credit card, where you bought it for 1,700 is now worth 5,000 and pays off the credit card. So that's the strategy when you have debt. You want to have debt because you want to pay back in inflated dollars that are worth far less than what you borrowed it for, as long as you just keep it not too far. Interest rates will go up to a point, but again, everything's based on the market. So how high will they make steaks and chicken and tuna and everything else? How high can they raise the price? It's got to be able to be bought. We have to buy it. If you're too high for us to buy, there's nothing. That's what's happening in China now. Nobody is buying anything. They don't have money, and they're used to savings, and they're very scared, emotional people, Chinese. So there's no market there because nobody's buying. And this is a big problem. So keep that and understand that you probably want to buy groceries now while you can afford them, because the price of the grocery really won't go up, but your dollar's going down, unless you plan on just selling your silver to buy your groceries, in which case I'd suggest you have 1,000 ounces or so. And really that's what's going on. I mean, it's key you understand money, and you understand money printing, and you understand the value of the money keeps dropping. But as I just showed you, gold in China and gold in Russia and gold in the US are all different prices because their dollars are worth different amounts. But when China and Russia come out with gold-backed currency, that will move the value, because now it's backed by gold, which will be huge. And where the ruble is, let's say 80 to 1, a dollar buys me 80 rubles, but it's worthless. Pretty soon the dollar will buy me 5 rubles, and they'll be backed by gold. That's what happened with Zimbabwe. It went from 30,000. $1 bought you 30,000 Zimbabwe's. It goes to gold, and $1 bought me 10 zigs because they were gold back. So understand the power of gold and silver. They can't be printed, and they are real, where the dollar is not real. It's not really, it would be real backed by gold or silver, but it's not. So it's not real. Bitcoin's not real because it's not backed by anything. Your stocks are going to be in trouble because without the free trade, all the stocks are going to go down. There won't be people to buy the items. You're going to run out and buy an iPhone or eat. And this is where all the problems are going to be. That's why you got to get out of the stock market. Apple, they're in trouble in China. What are they going to do? So you got a lot of problems, right? And there's the fucking dog. Jesus Christ. Um, so you have that. Like it's like he barks for 10 minutes instead of take him out to pee or whatever you're doing with them. These people have like never lived in a society, I guess. They're just really noisy and everything. And I've had people above me for 2 years. I never heard this shit. So I'll just keep complaining and I don't really care. I mean, obviously they're rude people because they keep bothering me. Anyway, so keep that in mind as they want to do it. Well, yeah, but you're hearing it through the speaker. I got to listen to that shit. And then I hear it at 2 o'clock. But the thing is, it doesn't stop. It like goes for 15 minutes. And you're like, I don't need my blood pressure high because of the stupid dog. I mean, what is that? Take them out to pee or whatever the fuck you're doing. All right. At least I got it marked. So anyway, be careful with the money. Realize it's not really worth anything unless it's backed by gold and silver. Understand that. Understand Bitcoin is priced in dollars, which is not backed by anything. Stocks. Less people will go and buy because you'll have less money because things cost more. So if I got to spend $50 on steak and chicken, I don't have $50 to buy T-shirts or something. And if I go buy gold and silver, I have less money for other things. So keep that in mind. But you can see, look at Russia. It's 235,000 ruble an ounce of gold. And here it's 3,000. And we're waiting for it to go up. And it's the same price because you'd have to convert the ruble into dollars. And when you did that, it's 33. It's 3,300 everywhere. Why they all use comex is I don't know, but I know China and Russia are coming out with a gold, silver, diamond exchange, as is Dubai. And then we'll get a real physical price of gold and silver, and it will be nowhere near this fake price here. And that's why I say just hold on and you'll be rewarded. You just have to understand what's going on and then you can do it, which is what I bitch at Profit about. You can't make bets without knowing what it is. Well, I'm going to watch the sharps. You don't even know what the sharps are. You don't even know how good the sharps are, or is that the sharps bet? You don't have any idea who's making that bet. Are the games fixed? Probably, but it's by the umpire. I've never seen such bad. I was watching girls fast pitch. Oklahoma, Texas, the College World Series. The umps were terrible. They can't call balls and strikes. Girl throws the ball right down the middle. Ball. Bell tie right there. What the fuck? Anyway, so just you should learn and understand what we're doing. I think most people, I've explained gold and silver to you well enough and brics and comex that you should know what's going on. That's why I tell you to be careful with who you're listening to out there because they don't know shit either. I don't know. It's very tough. Anyway, pool was open yesterday. You had a good workout. I'll be going about by about 2:30. They close at 4:30 on Sunday, which I have no idea why, but that's what they do. We didn't do baseball, did we? Because I don't see 6-1. Oh, let me quickly do baseball. My apologies. I thought I did it. I went over yesterday's games, but I didn't do today's. Well, I'm not going to go through every game. Let's just look at some key ones. And most of them are probably already going now. Okay, no, we got 15 minutes. Milwaukee, Philly. Quintano 4-1, 265. Rangers Suarez 4-0, and he's been pitching great. So we'll go Philly under 8, and we'll go 2 units, even though they played a football game yesterday. Boston Atlanta will take Boston. The White Sox Baltimore. We'll take the White Sox. Oakland Toronto, Sears and Gausman. Toronto 235. We got 8. We'll go over 8. So far, the only bets Philadelphia under 8. Oakland scores a lot. Frisco, Miami, I don't know. They played a 1-0 yesterday. Birdsong and Ryan Weathers. He's starting to get injuries and bullpen guys. No, he's pitched 5 innings, so he was hurt. So I'm going to go under San Fran, under 7.5. Colorado and the Mets. Again, the Mets are 400, 8.5. Palmquist 0-3 with an 8.78 for Colorado. Clay Holmes. All right, we're gonna have to take the Mets. I know it's minus 400. I'm sure the sharps are on that one, Prophet. California at Cleveland. This was high scoring yesterday. The worst person in the league, Kowaninsky, 3-6 with the 5.07. We're going to take Cleveland, 2 units. Tampa Bay at Houston. All these games are about 1:30 to 2:30. Ty Bradley, 4.38 against Houston. Hunter Brown, we're going to take Houston and the Hunter. Detroit KC, we got Kendon Montero, who stinks, 2-1, 4.54. Chris Bubik, okay, we're going to take KC. KC's a huge favorite. We'll go 2 units with KC. They're a 170 favorite. See, it's all based on pitching. This Montero is terrible. So that's why when you pull School Bowl, what you do, now you lose that game, and now you got Montero, and you're going to lose 2 in a row. Cincinnati at the Cubs. Martinez, 3.48 against Talion, 3.86. I'm going to go over here. Cubs over 7. Washington, Arizona, big favorite, 235 and 9. Parker, Washington, 4.4, 4.65. Corbin Burns, so we'll take Corbin Burns. And we'll go 2 units on Corbin. Although he got pulled last day. He was winning and he gets pulled and then he loses, so it's difficult. Minnesota, Seattle, Paddock, 3.92 against Castillo, 3.32. Seattle, 147.5. It's hard to concentrate with all this noise. See, when I do this, I can't, otherwise I can turn the TV on, put the volume up, and I kind of block it. But with doing this, I have to have it quiet, and then I hear it. Just a bunch of, a-holes who have no respect that I live here too, right? Minnesota, Seattle, Castillo 4-3 with the 3.32. Paddock 2-5 with the 3.92. We'll go Minnesota. No bet. Pittsburgh, San Diego 158.5. Andrew Heaney 3-4, 3.41. Vasquez, Pittsburgh's been playing well. I'll take Pitt. And the Yankees, Dodgers. The Dodgers 175.9. Ryan Yarbrough 2-0 with the 3.06. Yoshima Yamatutu. We'll take LA for 2 units. The way they scored. So here's our games. Philly under 8, 2 units. The Mets, 2 units. Cleveland, 2 units. KC, 2 units. Arizona, 2 units. And the Dodgers, 2 units. The normal picks that we're not betting: Boston, White Sox, Toronto over 8. Frisco under 7.5. Houston, Cubs over 7. Minnesota, Pittsburgh. There's your baseball. I don't know how I missed that one. Well, I don't have headphones for this, but why they should have headphones for the music, and then shut the fucking dog up. But I'm not. Then you can hear the dog again. I mean, it's like, and it's not like he has to go out and pee, right? So there's a bark when they got to go out, right? I get that, but they're just upstairs. I don't know. They probably have people over and they're just loud and don't understand. But very, very rude. Um, all right. So that's baseball. Nothing in basketball though. Thursday, we went over college football week one, pro football week one. We'll know more in college after we get a little bit more flavor of the NIL and the quarterbacks. The pros were pretty close. So it's Russell Wilson for the Giants, I believe. And then we have where does Aaron Rodgers go? So yeah, so the Giants should be able to score a little bit more. They might have a decent team. They have a decent offense. They got neighbors, the wide receiver. I don't know if they have a running back, but not very good. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Unbelievable. Um, oh, do we live in apartments where people are living around us and we got to be quiet? I said it like three times already to the front office. They wrote them up supposedly, but I don't know. Is like that dog is in your apartment? Well, I think he might actually be outside because from where he's coming from, that she's probably out walking and he's probably barking at kids or something. Um, very, very strange dog. I mean, normally they don't bark like that. This is a very barky dog, but I don't mind if he's got to go over to the bathroom. I don't question that, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to figure out what to do. I told them, well, maybe move me to a different apartment because I just signed my lease. So today, actually, my first payment is due. Should go up $25 from my last thing, but I don't. It's Sunday. You don't owe it. I'll owe it tomorrow, um, or I'll pay it on. Normally, I pay it like day 3. So to me, I don't think this is day 1 because it's Sunday. So I think it's business day 1. Anyway, I'll pay it probably Monday or Tuesday. I have auto pay, but it gets all fucked up when you renew your lease. The auto pay doesn't work, and I have to change the amount because I got it at where my old one was. Now I got to see what my new one is. Anyway, as my blood pressure boils with this dog. Fortunately, during the week, they're just not home that much. I don't hear them that much, not at night. I don't hear the dog. The dog's not his. He lives there. It's his girlfriend. I guess it's his girlfriend who comes over, and it's her dog. Why she's got to bring her dog, I don't know. She should be at her place with the dog. So we'll see. But I'm not going to put up with it. I'm stoic. This is ridiculous. And I got it on tape, right? Mostly, she's not here it's his apartment. She comes over mostly on the weekends. So during the week, I don't hear them as much. And it's different because it's work. So they're probably in bed earlier. Here, they're not working. So they're just hanging out, which I understand. Just be fucking quiet. There's no reason for the noise. You don't live alone. And especially when I'm trying to teach, I really make a stern thing that I'm teaching, shut the fuck up. So now that I'll go to the pool, I won't care. But this is a joke. So this is like 20 minutes because it was 1:55 and then there was a break and now again it's like what the fuck? Absolutely disgraceful. This is what we deal with. So when they lose all their money, I'll be living in a quiet island somewhere. Hence the gold. So anyway, that's what's going on. Any other normal questions or comments? Yeah, I mean, I would wear headphones if I knew kind of how to. I don't. It's not like I'm doing a podcast like Joe Rogan. I don't even think he wears headphones. Some of these people I see with the headphones and the mic, and I'm laughing. Like I think I can. I don't need a mic. Um, let's not go there. I look at it as more content. What I'm telling you, you can't get anywhere else. Very important, more so than trying to sell a book. Or should I put like $10? I have my poker book. Should I put my poker books up? I love these people. They have their bookshelf behind them with all these books and a little trophy of something, and trying to look important, right? Let me get my books so I look important. Anyway, I think that's it. 2:15. I will go to the pool. Any questions or comments? So as far as I know, I'm meeting Luke on Tuesday. He's from Pittsburgh. We met in Barcelona. We're going to meet in Toledo. He's going there for business, and it's fairly close to me. I think just because of the time, if I left at 8 to get there at 9, it would probably be fine. But leaving at 5, it's kind of rush hour. So it might take me a little, but if I get there at 6:15, Luke, don't shoot me. Um, right now, I don't have his number. He just emailed me, or I get him on here. So I'll just email him where I am. But I think we're gonna be there for a few hours talking gold and stuff. So I'll get there when I can get there. I had to get Alyssa Friday night, and she was. It's a long story. I don't want to get into, but anyway, where she lives, it's in a different city, about 45 minutes away. But I don't know how to. I know how to get there on the one, like the main road, Old Mill Road. But Old Mill Road was closed for like 3 miles. The police shut down both lanes, so I had to get off and try to figure out a road to get back onto Old Mill Road, and it was crazy. So I said when I picked her up, I said we got to go a different way. We can't get to Old Mill Road. They've got it closed. I don't know why it was closed. At certain points, I didn't know why it was closed. I could have looped around. The traffic was coming. I didn't know what it was. But anyway, I don't know if there was criminal activity or if it was a power lake or something. I don't know. But I had to be diverted. So again, if that happens, I'll be a little later. Anyways, off to the pool, and we'll go from there. All right. So have a good day. Daria's okay. I'm happy for her. So she got some lemons and some meat, so she should be pretty healthy. All right. Well, have a good day, everybody. So you got to get. So there's the football is in there. It'll vary as we get. It's only June 1st. We start September 1st, so we got 3 months. Possible injuries. We won't see anybody in the preseason games, and they wonder why all these teams stink. And they're so scared. Well, we won't only get a guy injured. And then by not playing him, you get the whole team injured with calves and pulled muscles and hamstrings. And none of the teams are any good for 3 weeks. Cost Cincinnati last year. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Got an email? Please email me. You'll get my email there if you have a question. Otherwise, again, baseball, Philly under 8, the Mets, Cleveland, Kansas City, Arizona, and the Dodgers. Those are your baseball. There's no basketball to bet. We'll take OKC in game 1. I'm assuming about 7-8 points. Bet OKC to win the series. They're not going to lose. It'll probably be high scoring if you want to bet overs. All right. Take care. Gold comes back on about 6 o'clock tonight. China starts buying. It's going to drop first, and then about 1 in the morning, it'll come back up. So don't worry. It'll get to 3,500, 4,000 soon. July 1st, Basel III, gold and silver go with the moon. July 17th, brics in Brazil has their meeting where I'm sure they've already started with the gold-backed currency. All right, that's all I know. China's going broke. So's Japan. So's the U.S. So's Germany. So's the whole world. Anybody in this is fucked. All right, go buy your gold and silver. All right, you got a month. Take care.